We do that countdown, and every single time I'm sitting in the chair, I'm like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Not really, but hope you had a nice Thanksgiving, Christmas, 27 days and counting. Here we go. It is a beautiful Friday. The sun is shining bright. Outstanding looking weather today, but really, 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 really stinking cold out there. With all that sun, you might think, oh, we're going to warm up a lot. Nope. Nope. Average high today is 53, stuck in the 30s, but that's fine. The sun is bright and it'll make us all smile, especially if you have to do any traveling. Most of the U.S. pretty calm today, but we are going to see an active pattern take aim right at us. The first one coming in for our Saturday doesn't look like we're going to get bombarded with the worst of the winter storm that moves towards the northern half of the Ohio Valley, the Midwest. But I think we're going to get scraped up a little bit as we head into our Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. And then this pattern, as we mentioned in the headlines here, it is loaded with winter weather going into next week and probably the first couple weeks is what we're looking at. The first couple weeks of this setup here of December, it's going to be a completely different ball game. So let's get into this forecast and really talk about this outlook that will have some snow. Even tomorrow, we're going to have plenty of cold air around. Today, that cold air is really filtering in from the northwest with that flow from the west northwest. That's setting us up to get the cold air established for when the moisture arrives. And that storm is still out in the Pacific Northwest. It's going to dive down to the south. What we have tomorrow is warmth moving in with a very strong low-level jet stream. It's going to have some moisture, but it's basically that warmer air shooting in to cold, dry air. The clouds will quickly develop and take hold for this weekend. So enjoy this one-hit wonder of sunshine today. There's all your 30s out there. At least we're up out of the teens with those morning wind chills that we had. So now we'll take you through the rest of the day. I mean, we don't need to spend a lot of time on it today, tonight, with Trinity and St. X playing football, sitting in the stands, ice cold. We will drop into the upper 20s by the end of the game. That's how fast we fall. Now, here's one of the things with the clouds moving in early Saturday morning. As we drop to about 25, we will stop and then probably push that up a couple degrees when the sun's popping up on our Saturday morning. And if you're getting the latest updated weather forecast with Bryce Jones tomorrow morning, which I think you should because of this loaded winter weather pattern, we'll be closer to 30, 7, 8, 9 o'clock. But it's a cold Friday night, and with the clouds moving in quickly tomorrow, we're not going to see a big rebound either. We might not even get to 40 in some areas for the UK U of L game. Would it be surprising to have some of that snow, maybe ice pellets coming at us during the end of the game? No, I don't think so. I think the better chance will hold off until tomorrow night, and at that point, it's probably warm enough in the upper levels of the atmosphere that it would be a cold rain around Louisville. But I think as that first surge of warmer air and moisture moves in, it could overcome the dry conditions and produce a quick little hit of light snow for the end of the game. So that's something we'll be watching. If it happens, minor accumulations anticipated around Louisville. What we're about to show you, though, is there could be a little more significance with that snow going north from southern into central Indiana. I think the big story for the game tomorrow is just going to be how cold it is, especially if it's not a great game and there's not excitement and your blood pressure isn't raising. You're going to sit there like ice cold. Now, check this out. You can see how we have a large area of winter weather advisories. Those are all highlighted in that magenta color. That large area of blue covering up almost every county in Iowa is a winter storm warning. And notice how it moves and curls down to the southeast across Illinois, winter storm warnings. And then as it gets to Indiana, winter storm watch in effect right now as we see snow that will quickly break out during the afternoon up in central Indiana, western Indiana. It's possible some winter weather advisories could be needed just south of where that winter storm watch is. We're going to wait and see how things come in later today into tonight and tomorrow morning to make that decision if we're going to have to add a few winter weather advisories for parts of southern Indiana. But that is a big difference between winter storm warning, winter weather advisory, you're still going to get some travel impacts if you would go under a winter weather advisory. But winter storm warning is always one of those bigger headlines for more of a significant winter storm. So we put this together. Last night, Mark Weinberg had a first look at potential snow accumulation and potential snow impact map. I made one this morning. Really not much of a difference from what he had running and what we're thinking now. That stripe of white where it says brief hit of snow sometime during the afternoon coming in from the west, we'll see probably a real fast burst of snow. I don't know necessarily if it's going to be able to maintain enough cold air to go for multiple hours. So this is where there's more than likely not going to be a huge impact from that. Now, as you go up into southern Indiana, as you get to Highway 56, Highway 150, French Lick, Scottsburg, all the way up towards North Vernon and Madison, maybe a better chance of that quick burst of snow lasting a little longer. And with the cold ground, some of it could easily stick. I drove to Columbus, Indiana to spend my Thanksgiving yesterday afternoon with the family up that way. Northbound, southbound, I-65 from Clarksville, Jeffersonville, from Clark County all the way up to Bartholomew County. There is brine everywhere. So they did that a couple days ago in anticipation of what we're looking at. Well, it's not expected to be a massive snowstorm, just some snow with minor accumulation, and that cold air locked in could very easily create some slick travel tomorrow afternoon, and probably improving by tomorrow night is what you're going to find when I show you our future weather. Those temperatures should rise, and we'll see a switch over to mainly cold rain. There could briefly be some ice pellets mixed in, but once you get up towards central Indiana, north of Seymour, if you go from Columbus, Terre Haute, Bloomington, Nashville, and then all points to the north, there's probably going to be multiple hours, continual hours of steady snow coming down with temperatures in the upper 20s and low 30s. That's where you could easily see more than 2 inches of accumulation tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow night. But even up around Indianapolis, this low-level jet stream is so strong, there's going to be warm air taking temperatures above the surface above freezing. So there's probably going to be a changeover to some drizzle and sprinkles and rain showers all the way up towards Columbus and Franklin and Greenwood and Indianapolis. But regardless, changeover or no changeover, let's just say you have 1 to 2 hours of light snow, moderate snow coming down, there could be some slick travel. So here's something to keep in mind when you're looking at our radar, our future satellite and radar for tomorrow. The white and that gray shade is representing the clouds. And then where you start to see the blue and the bright white on the snow, future radar showing that snow area, the darker the blue, the more intense snow that you're looking at. This is showing the prediction of where it's actually hitting the ground. Tomorrow, if you're looking at your WDRB weather app, or really any weather apps, you're going to see some various radars that might show it's snowing over your location, say 11 o'clock in the morning, noon, 1 o'clock, and you look outside and you're like, what's going on? I don't see anything. It's just some clouds. Well, there is going to be a lot of snow coming down, thousands of feet up in the sky, but as it's hitting that very cold, dry air, it just can't penetrate it. So a lot of this will fall and never make it down to the ground. It's called virga. I think you're going to see that on the radar, but during the afternoon, sometimes in these overrunning situations, when you get that warmer push comes in quickly over that cold, dry air, it can start up a little bit earlier than what you see on the radar. That is an often trend that can happen. So that's another, don't be surprised if you're looking at this at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. It shows snow out along I-69 near Evansville, but we actually might have this, say, 2 hours farther off to the east. Wouldn't surprise me at all if that's the case. Here we are at 1 o'clock. Best chance for snow, Indianapolis down towards Mount Vernon, Illinois. That includes Vincennes and Terre Haute. The main push of moisture that will eventually saturate the column of air from high up in the sky down to the surface will happen tomorrow night, and that is clearly showing up as we get into the evening through around midnight. So you're talking about that quick burst of snow, some minor accumulations, that very strong south wind torching us into the 40s. I mean, you have 40s from the Kentucky-Tennessee border through all of Kentucky, and more than likely briefly hitting the low 40s even up into southern Indiana. And when I say brief, I mean brief. Emphasize that because the winds shift right back around to the west on our Sunday. For church, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, we're around 30 degrees. The low 30s, we're freezing and not moving much. Clouds are all over the place. Cold air is rushing back in, and it's going to squeeze out some flurries during the midday, afternoon, and evening. That's a very common setup following all that moisture that will saturate the low levels, and that cold air rushes in and squeezes it out. There'll be some flurries, maybe some dustings out of that as we head into Sunday evening. But this surge of cold is going to be key with what we expect to be a better chance for a higher impact snow or at least winter weather scenario as we take you into early next week. So we're talking about Monday night and Tuesday. Tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, there could be a brief period of that sleet situation. We're not calling it an ice storm, just some of those ice pellets bouncing down. Next week, and we're not calling that necessarily an ice storm, but maybe a better chance for some light freezing rain mixed in, maybe some ice pellets mixed in, maybe predominantly snow. It's a little bit of everything. The old mixed bag phrase is going to be used for this one, but this has more of a southerly track than the storm system for this weekend. With the storm track this weekend going farther north, you get more of a southerly push, better chance for warming. This next storm system, Monday night into Tuesday, if it does maintain a track through the Tennessee Valley, we can latch onto that cold air a little bit more. So this is showing up with more of a likelihood of a higher impact to get that winter weather across Kentucky and certainly all of southern and central Indiana locked in cold enough to support at least snow and some sleet, maybe some freezing rain, depending on where the track goes, farther north, farther south, whatever. But you get the idea. This is going to set us up through mid portions of next week. There's so much that goes into it. Then you have to think about, well, let's just say we get some accumulation and put that down on the ground. That would enhance the cold. So the forecast temperatures that are represented in the 7-day forecast now don't necessarily take into consideration snow on the ground. But if this thing does materialize and we have snow on the ground, then that's going to make the cold hit a little bit more. It's going to make this cold weather pattern last a little bit longer. So the approaching storms after that Monday night, Tuesday system will have plenty of cold to work with. And that could lead to more winter mischief loaded up in this pattern. There's your 6 to 10 day outlook. And from the Climate Prediction Center, you could take it out for probably the first week, 2 weeks of December. It looks to stay colder than average, but it's like the snowball effect, the chain reaction. If we get snow on the ground, it enhances the cold. You put more snow on the ground potentially, or ice or whatever, it enhances the cold. That makes it a little more difficult to get that warm up down the road. So, some excitement after a relatively warm pattern that we had the last few weeks, now into the cold. And as we often do, you go from one extreme to the other, and this upcoming extreme that we're going to be looking at is going to have everything to do with the chance for some winter weather. I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. Hopefully this helped get you set up. Mark Weinberg's going to be in later on today. He'll be updating social media platforms and everything. And then tomorrow morning, Bryce Jones is in. Matthew Wine's in tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Obviously, when you're more than 24 hours out, expect some change. That's not just an easy way out, a disclaimer like, oh, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. It's weather. There is no doubt about it. You get into scenarios more than 24 hours out, winter, spring, summer, or fall, expect some sort of an adjustment that will take place. Sometimes it's minor, sometimes it's a little more significant. But expect some change to this overall snow rain line and end output that we're looking at, and definitely a little more erratic output as we head towards Monday and Tuesday since it's farther off down the road. I highly advise you at least trying to find a few minutes to check in with the weather team later today and at some point this weekend because there is a lot going on.